This is a 2025 Lexus LX 700H. I've had several women stop me this week, tell me I have a nice car with this earth exterior color. So my golf buddies go, what the heck? This is $116,000? And you wouldn't believe it by looking at it, but this is a luxury off-road beast that's sold globally, and it's a big deal for Lexus. This one right here. Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. In this video, I'm going to tell you why it's such a big deal for Lexus globally, and probably some things you didn't know about this Lexus LX 700H. We got all that right now. All right, let's start underneath the hood. This is a 3.4 liter V6 twin turbocharged engine. Same one you find in the Toyota Tundra and the Toyota Sequoia, because this is built on the same GAF global platform, but it's got some key differences. First of all, the hybrid battery is located under the second row seat, and it's waterproof to allow this vehicle to go up to 275 inches of water fording. And another thing that made a change is it's got an alternator and a starter. Why is that important? Well, if the hybrid battery ever fails, the starter can start the engine. That way you keep going in any sort of overlanding experience and not be sitting out there with a dead battery. They've also increased the horsepower to 457 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. That, with some premium fuel, moves this puppy down the road. In this Overtrail trim, I do have these 33-inch all-terrain tires with 18-inch wheels. I have a front locker. I have double wishbone front suspension. I have a torsion center differential locker, sending torque the 50-50 split between the front and rear. Underneath this body somewhere, I have an oil pan that has a guard on it as well to stop it from getting damaged or knocked off when I'm overlanding as well. And I have a rear locker on this multi-link rear suspension coming back underneath or on the rear tire there. I also have air suspension built in this, and a real rear and a real spare tire, which is essential for off-road usage. And I can tow 8,000 pounds. Besides the off-road hardware, I have this design that Lex has been using for a while. It has that front kind of look to it where it has the grille comes down both sides. I have these lights go like this. They kind of come around the sides a little bit of a swoosh like with the daytime running lights. I have fog lamps down below as well. The Lexus badge there in the middle. Comes around the side of this blacked out mirror cap here and blacked out sides. This is part of the Overtrail package. Blends in nice to this very foggy morning here in western Nebraska. I have blacked out door handles here and here. I have 2 rows with second row seating. I'll show you in just a minute. This does come available in a third row seat as well. Coming on the back, we can see our tail lights kind of blend in all the way across. Lexus spelled out in the back, LX 700H there as well. We'll pop this tail light, this tailgate, get it open. And so you have some storage room back here. I had a set of golf clubs in here earlier. A set of golf clubs fits across the back. You can fit a couple going up and down. It doesn't quite fit all the way across like this. With the Overtrail grade, you do get a 2400 volt plug-in, which is going to be right here. This is great for hooking in more items that require more power, especially when you're overlanding. You can put a power adapter strip and plug in a lot of things back there. You have just, again, some cargo tie-down straps there as well, and the cup holder for the occasional third row if you did have this third row in this vehicle. And then we have some tie-down mounts here as well for cargo mounts. And then usually you have some speakers. So if you happen to open this up and you want to have a little party back here, you can have the speakers going and put your lawn chairs back here, plug in there, and then you can have some protection from the weather by sitting here in this little dirt that somebody left behind at some point. Inside, this looks like the stone brown interior color to me. It doesn't really say on my sheet, but this is what the color looks like when I looked up online. Mark Levinson sound system here. We have a little design here. This comes up for a nice sunshade for those rear passengers. Nice simple fix, keep the sun out of your eyes. We have a cup holder there. Have the step in with a little bit of running board. It's a little tight to the sides. Just keep that in mind if you have big feet. And then all weather floor mats for this over trail trim. We do have heated and cooled outboard seats there, and some controls for HVAC there for rear seat customers, and then, or rear seat riders, customers. And then we have a couple bit of nice cup holders here as well. So more cup holder space, little handrest, and there is your second row as far as seating goes. Up front, got seat controls. I have the controls to the windows down there and controls for the mirrors. Kind of hard to reach sometimes with the door handle here. It's difficult at times. I have different controls for the cameras here, odometer, brightness. These are your controls for the screens and for the adaptive cruise control. The steering wheel tilts and telescopes. It is powered. And then I have an eyeball reader to make sure I don't get in trouble. Different controls there for digital display. And then I have a 2-piece center infotainment screen instead of having one piece. This is driver dynamics, what's going on in the vehicle. I have some off-road stuff selected. So the vehicle's up higher. I want to show you that in just a minute. This shows me where I'm at. This is my CarPlay pulled up there. And then this is heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, different settings for that. This does get pretty hot with this one. And then USB's there. This is a wireless charger. I have different spots for the cup holders. And there's some more controls there for air suspension, center locking differential, and little cubby hole. And then this is the rest of your center, or your interior. And then this is a big deal. This is a cooled box, which is a big deal for off-roading, or overlanding especially. So if you have multiple days on a trail, people fight over this box, who gets the cold drink. What's cool with this setup is they were able to make this work where they open up both sides. So whoever wants to use either side just does it, no big deal. But let's check this out with the air suspension raised up, so make sure I don't fall, because it did get raised up quite a bit. So I'm going to use this little bitty running board. So you can see the tires have more room for them as far as space, and this actually lowered down a little bit. I had this raised up all the way, just showing off some off-road features. And then one of the big things I was looking at was, this is a big deal in global markets. You can tell because the floor mat. The floor mat is written in Arabic. Why? Well, it's a big global vehicle. We have Arabic, we have French, and then we have English, and then I believe there's Spanish on there as well. So this is a global vehicle for the brand. It's a big seller, I said, in multiple areas because of, parts of the world where you need that off-road capability. Now you have the performance of the turbocharged engine, and I'll show you these off-road features with this vehicle. So you essentially have a truck platform with the capability of this, and so you can turn it on to where I was in 4-wheel drive low, but you go back to neutral and you can put it back into 4 high. So I have a 2-speed transfer case in this. I can go back and put it on multi-train select, and that allows me to, with moving this mode shifter back in drive or park, I can move this mode shifter, and it allows me to change different drive modes to, say, move this camera for you guys, dirt, sand, mud, deep snow. These are all driver assistance things that helps you as a driver make sure your vehicle's set up for your needs. It just changes the shifting patterns, the driver response, turns certain things on, certain things off. It just makes it easier for when you're out there driving. Not everybody needs that stuff, but it is pretty handy. Just turn it on. You may be a great driver, but they're just good assistance features. Then you can see your brake and acceleration and different places for departure and angles when you're on and off-road. So that makes sure you're not like very negative, or if you're on a trail, make sure you don't flip over. So that's kind of what's going on here inside the cabin. Let's go for a quick drive. One more thing on these screens, if you find yourself overlanding a lot or off-roading, or you just really want some protection on these screens to keep like scratches and fingerprints off of these and to make sure that they don't get beat up, visit my friends at screenprotech.com. I'll put a link down below. You can take 15% off your order with Pickup 15. They make them for the dash screen behind here as well. I have them on my trucks and I recommend them. They keep off the mud, the smudges, and they make these screens not so smooth and your finger flies around. A little more tacky, easier to use the screens. I like them a lot. It keeps those fingerprints off and again, keeps scratches off. Use code PICKUP15 to get 15% off your order when you head over to screenprotech.com. Okay, let me get everything straightened out here. I turned off downhill assist control. I was messing with that, and I'm turning on mode select. So the drive modes allow me to have different selections as well. If I get that on camera for you guys. Let me turn the camera on real fast. And then as I turn the dial, I can have Sport Plus, Sport, S, Normal, Comfort, and Eco, or I can customize it to fit my needs. I'll just drive on Normal. I've done some driving with the Sport Plus and Sport S, and it's fun. It's amazing how big of a vehicle this is and how those different drive modes can really unleash all the horsepower. But even in normal driving mode, this thing is really impressive for the, like I said, the overall size of it. I know people will say they wish they still had the 5.7 liter V8. I don't. You know, it really moves this vehicle that much better with the twin turbo V6, and with the hybrid technology on this, it's much smoother acceleration. Made it a 10-speed transmission. It just is just a smoother driving experience. It's incredible how smaller this feels. I think there'll be some natural comparisons between this and say the Nissan Armada. It's a very interesting comparison because the Armada is basically in the US a Nissan Patrol globally. They're both very capable vehicles. Wow, I don't know what you do with that as comparison. I think Toyota's got better off-road capability technology with the crawl control, downhill assist control, and the overall engineering of this. I tend to like the Lexus as far as the interior is. I do like the new Armada, and I do like the new Infiniti QX80. They're very sharp vehicles, so I don't think you'd have a... I think you'd have a toss-up. It'd be a really hard comparison. And if you drove them side by side, I think you'd be impressed with either one. It'd come down to styling for either one for those customers. Just looking at them side by side, which one you would go with. But this has been a very nice week to drive this one around. Really, I could do a road trip with this and not feel like I was fatigued, I should say. It drives a lot smaller than you think. It's a lot more powerful than you think. And it's a very nice riding vehicle, definitely a road trip vehicle for sure. So it's really well done. It's been interesting lately with Toyota and Lexus. It seems like they've had some vehicles that have just been knocked out of the park, and some you're like going, what in the hell were you thinking? And this one is not the what the hell you're thinking. This one's a knocked out of the park, home run. Yes, 116,000, not for everybody, but really for those customers who need the off-road capability, or who just want it for those features, and who want a big 2-row or 3-row SUV. In this case, for this type of vehicle, this thing is really well done. For more well-done vehicles and videos, see what I did there, check them out over here, website down below as well, pickuptrucktalk.com. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.